Life DiBiase.
Yo, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Depending on whenever you digest this content, it's your boy Slave DiBiase, man, the host of the illustrious Offenders Initiative podcast. All my stoneheads, all my true offenders, thank y'all for pulling up for another live episode of the Offenders Initiative podcast for our 420 session. Y'all know how I go down, man. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, man. Letting me know that y'all liking what I'm doing around here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here for y'all. You know what I'm saying? You got somebody to sesh with. I'm right here with you. Pull up on me. Pull up on me. Yeah, pull up on me, man. You know what I'm saying? Smoke some bit. Hell. But y'all see exactly what time it is, man. As y'all know, HBO Max original Welcome to Derry is now on episode 4, and we have been keeping locked in on every episode for the breakdowns and all that. So get your gas, fuck nigga, you know what I'm talking about? Roll up your tree, you know what I'm saying? Pack your bowls, you know what I'm saying? You can roll your little whiteboard with your little papers. Bob Marley papers, I hope, you know what I'm saying? And we gonna get into it, man, you know what I'm saying? First of all, before we go any further, it's another 420 session. I'm asking everybody, what are we smoking on today in the comments, man? Let me know what you're smoking on in the comments. I gotta know, because it could be a flavor I might want to try out for myself. You understand? Today, I'm still fucking with the white runts. I'm still fucking with the white runts. The white runts, the white ones, you know what I'm talking about? And also, too, tell me in the comments what y'all smoking on, and tell me, are you enjoying it? Welcome to Derry. So far, we're on episode 4. Y'all enjoying it so far? Let's see exactly what happened in this one. Oh, and this here, my channel, this here spoiler country, Jack. If you don't like it, get the fuck on till you watch the episode, because I'm finna tell it now. This is definitely spoiler country, Jack. Let's get to it. All right.
Pop Mom.
Today's content we will be reacting to is by way of Thanks Story. Please go give them a like, comment, and subscribe. Welcome to Derry, episode 4, breakdown theories and details. Let's talk about it, y'all.
Happy pills and go fishing with Dad. We have an eye-opening episode that puts weapons to shame. This week's episode gives us a huge origin story, updates on the Pennywise daughter theory, and a scene that gave me PTSD from high school.
I can't believe Tim likes me.
A few moments later.
No!
Guys, it's not what it looks like.
Yeah, it definitely got crazy.
Take on this week's biggest mysteries, and be sure to like and subscribe, and drop a red balloon in the comments, and maybe my video will float to the top of the algorithm.
That's funny. All right, I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Again, this was another graphic episode. I'm loving what Annie Muschietti is doing with everything. He might just be redeeming himself from that trash that he put out called The Flash, starring Ezra Miller. He might just be redeeming himself that with these first 4 episodes of Welcome to Derry. I haven't fallen off yet. I'm into it. Let's take a look.
The episode begins along the streets of Derry, where I guess the kids can just roam in the middle of the street without getting run over. In my previous videos, I've gone over some of the various establishments on Main Street, but I want to go over this one we haven't really looked into, the Arrowhead Hotel. This isn't in the movies, which leads me to believe it might be a nod to the military's Project Arrowhead from King's novel The Mist.
Did y'all watch The Mist when that came out? That movie was But there's another movie where folks always playing God. Yo, why is the military on some secretive type vibes trying to open portals to other dimensions? What are y'all gonna do in them other dimensions? Instead, in this movie, you open up a portal to a giant dimension that has giant bugs that are killing and eating people. Stop touching shit, opening up dimensions and shit. Stop it.
A project which ripped reality open and let creatures and the mist in. The military messing around with a supernatural entity? What could go wrong? The gang, comprised of Rich, Will, Ronnie, and Looney Lily, hurry their asses over to Police Chief Bowers.
Hold on,
messing around with a
let's go back to
supernatural
this.
entity? What could go wrong? The gang, comprised of Rich, Will, Ronnie, and Looney Lily.
Looney Lily. Okay, so you got the Spanish boy right here. Got 2 black kids and a white girl. They think she crazier than a fish with titties. They think her daddy a murderer. They think he a punk. and everybody's just racist to him. Out of these 4 kids that are sitting here, it looks like they might be this decades or this era's version of the Losers Club. Do we think everybody's going to make it out alive by the end of the season? Because we know if you watch the movies, they didn't kill it. They might beat him. I don't know how they're going to do it. They might beat him, but they're not going to kill him.
Hurry their asses over to Police Chief Bowers. Last night, they engaged in a seance to bring out the dead, followed by breaking into the school's photography lab. They want to.
Did y'all watch the last episode where they engaged in a seance? First of all, there's 2 black kids there. Why are we engaging in seances? We don't do that. We don't play with ghosts. We don't play with ghosts. Like these movies where folks be opening up these ancient books that got crazy languages and the book cover look like it's made out of the Necronomicon. Who the fuck black finna open up the Necronomicon? We not fucking with no spirits and no nothing like that. Most of us is Baptists. We not doing that.
Show what they've developed, but when Bowers takes a look, it's a bunch of shit, literally pigeon shit. Even this photo of Pennywise they believe to be a statue, but I want to.
So you telling me that looked like a statue? A statue got glowing eyes? Come on, man.
Know what happened to this picture? Where did that one go? Honestly, it probably wouldn't have made a difference either way. You'll notice it's Ronnie and Will who interrupt Rich as he tells them about what they're doing in the set.
It must be a very, very powerful entity that it can change pictures that you've taken. It can change those out and make you look crazy. It is so engulfed in emerged in Derry down to its core that its powers is just feeding out into everything. That's why every year they have all these kids missing, and the adults around there just be like, another missing kid. All this bad, weird shit happening in Derry. Everybody just be like, another problem. That shit crazy. Nobody's investigating all the darkness that's happening around in this town.
Cemetery. As 2 black kids growing up in the 1960s, I'm sure Will and Ronnie are used to the cops not believing them, hence why they give each other this knowing look when interrupting Rich and making up a lie about what they were actually doing.
Right.
I also want to bring up the Phil and Maddie are still alive theory. You'll remember Phil and Maddie from episode 1. We never see either of them actually die. Then in episode 2, their faces on the cereal box.
Phil and Maddie are still alive. They have Phil spirit, whatever he is, come out of a whole damn. He came out of the movie that they was watching. You telling me he's still alive? The one eating the cereal here, he's still alive. Both of these motherfuckers is dead. Come on, man, stop playing.
Are normal compared to Teddy and Susie's. In episode 3, neither of their bodies appear as ghosts in the cemetery, and now in episode 4, there's a lot of talk about who, how, and why the entity goes about choosing its victims and which ones it lets live. So
they're saying Pennywise doesn't attack people until they're scared. He doesn't attack these kids until they're scared enough. So he appears to them as their worst fears, scaring them, almost like fattening up a pig for slaughter. Once they're truly, truly scared, that's when he feasts. So if those 2 kids are still alive, they're not scared enough. And I guess he's waiting until they get scared enough and then he can eat them. Just wow.
How does the entity choose who lives and dies? As seen in episode 4, the entity could have killed several of our characters at any time, instead deciding to keep them alive to harvest off their fear. It's Will Hanlon who posits the best theory I've heard so far. The entity can sense adrenaline and cortisol in the blood, what Will calls our fear hormones. The entity must be able to sense this and, depending on our levels, let us live or die. As Will states, it will stalk us until we smell just right. So it's possible, depending on these levels, that the entity will decide to
kick him in his fucking face. You sit up there watching him do that shit. Kick him in his shit. Bow.
Do one of 3 things: let you live, let you die, or take you back to its lair to float. This is likely where Phil and Maddie are. And if you
the kids are fucking floating, they're alive. Come on, man.
Stick around to my trailer sleuthing section. I think we'll have a lot more floaters in the episode to come. That didn't sound right. I like this little detail that the Derry High School mascot is the Trapper. It fits in with Maine's history of fur trapping, but also the fact our kids are essentially trapped in this town with it. With
Right.
Ronnie's dad bound for Shawshank, Stephen King's infamous prison.
And they saying her dad, Ronnie's dad, might get sent to prison along the same time that Buddy from Shawshank Redemption is actually in there. Buddy right here. They're saying they might be in there at the same time if they are, in fact, going to send him there.
This prison time is of the essence, so Lily decides to meet with a woman who knows a lot about Derry's past in the hopes she might offer some insight. If you've been following my channel, you'll know I came out with a full video on the Pennywise daughter theory, which involves this still yet to be named woman. So check
Hmm.
that out if you haven't already. For now, I'm going to focus on just the new pieces of information.
Hold up. So you saying that woman that's been in 2 episodes now, 2 different episodes, it's a possibility that she's working with it. As a matter of fact, she might be its daughter. I didn't even know it could have kids. Like, that's crazy. But this clown face does look vaguely familiar, doesn't it?
First, look what she's wearing. Pennywise red, just like how we saw red balloons with her as a child. That is, if you believe that's her as a child. She also loves to bring up her father. This is the second time she uses her dad's words, stating, "With good friends at your side, anything is possible." But the most important thing this scene reveals actually lays in what it doesn't do. It doesn't really advance the plot in any way. You could take this scene out of the episode and the episode would still work. So why have this
True.
scene in here? One, it's a gentle reminder to us, the viewer, this character still exists. Vital if she'll end up being some sort of big reveal later on.
Yet she's unnamed. Like he said, she's unnamed.
Two, she gives us some interesting exposition.
I do remember some kids going missing in the 30s, quite a few actually. Again, it is just brainwashing the town to make them think missing kids is a normal fucking thing. And it don't seem like the police do their job around there because none of the missing kids are ever found.
That a bunch of kids went missing in the 1930s. Back then, this character would have been in her late 30s or early 40s because the actress who plays her is currently 67. And if we deduct the entity's 27-year cycle,
Wait,
that's what we get.
hold on, wait.
Would have been in her late 30s or early 40s because the actress who
This woman is 67 years old. She's 67 years old. I don't believe that.
some interesting exposition that a bunch of kids went missing in the 1930s. Back then, this character would have been in her late 30s or early 40s because the actress who plays her is currently 67. And if we deduct the entity's 27-year cycle, that's what we get. The 1935 cycle coincides with the Bradley Gang massacre.
Have y'all noticed that in the It trailer, like the intro, you can always see it in the background somewhere. See, he's right here. He's causing all of this, just feeding off of everybody's fear, and they don't see him.
Bradley Gang massacre. The automobile from that heist was retrieved at the military dig site at the end of episode 2. Y'all know I think this woman is bad news, as it's most often the ones who help our protagonists the most that end up being secret villains.
That's a
Now, I gotta
fact.
put this out there. Is this woman even real? The only person that's actually interacted with her so far is Lily. And Lily's been to Juniper Hill dealing with all sorts of mental health issues, and she's on different medications.
I ain't gonna lie, Lily crazy. I don't care what y'all say. Little Lily is crazy.
Can she even be trusted? I also want to bring up the clown Will sees when creeping on his neighbor.
Oh man, yo. So later in the episode, your man Will Hanlon, he's got his telescope. Telescope. That's not a word. He's got his telescope. It's at night. He can't sleep, so he decides to play with his telescope. He looks outside and he scopes around the neighborhood and he sees this standing outside the house, looking directly at him. Boy, what the fuck? I wish my child would run in the room and tell me that there's somebody, a clown or something like, bro, we getting the hell out this damn town. My boy going crazy. He wasn't going crazy in the last duty station I was at. Now we leaving.
I don't know about you guys, but this doesn't look like Pennywise to me. It's too thin and has these bells on the top of its hair, just like this clown known as a young periwinkle. Maybe it's this grown-up woman, but whether or not she's actually alive or some sort of manifestation is still to be determined. We do know, however, that this woman encourages Lily to keep on the search.
I ain't gonna lie, that didn't look like Pennywise. It did look like a smaller version. So there might be some truth to this whole Pennywise has a daughter theory. I'm fucking with it though. It'd be crazy because we don't see her in the later down the timeline when the Losers Club are actually around. Meaning somebody here probably took her out.
She wants Lily to go deeper down the rabbit hole, hoping it will instill more fear and put them in even more danger. Upon reading about Ronnie's dad, Hank, Charlotte Hanlon decides to take matters into her own hands. This was a major
Yo, when I tell you this woman, if stirring the pot was a person, if stirring the pot was a person, Charlotte Hanlon gives not one fuck. She went black Karen on motherfuckers in that goddamn police station because she's asking to talk to Ronnie's father because she doesn't believe that a black man just murdered some kids or whatever. Now, true enough, somebody said that they saw him walking down a certain street, what was it, Jackson Street or something like that, placing him there at 11:30 at night. This is Ronnie's father, little black girl's father or whatever. Charlotte here doesn't seem to think he has anything to do with anything like that, you know, purely from the fact that her son is friends with his daughter. You know what I'm saying? Purely going off of that. So she wants to see what's going on. Black folks getting treated unjustly. And she was doing this at the last duty station. She says she ain't having it. I need to speak to bruh. The police sent up there telling him, we ain't gonna let you speak to nobody. She was like, don't make me get on the phone with RFK, JFK, MLK. She went in, bruh.
Her own hands. This was a major point of contention in Leroy and Charlotte's relationship back in Shreveport, where Charlotte was heavily involved in the civil rights movement.
Okay.
It looks like it'll continue.
What I don't want to see is it find its darkness, it finds its way into the darkness of their relationship between her and her husband, and they end up breaking up behind it infiltrating and doing its little nasty magic and all of that. I hope they don't break up because they're good together.
You to be here as well. Leroy doesn't want her stirring the pot for fear she could jeopardize his place in the military.
And she can.
Where does that question everything? That's the dance.
She's putting justice before this.
Ladies, tell me out there if your husband's telling you, yo, I don't need you stirring the pot or doing anything to make us look bad so that I don't get clipped for promotion. Are you listening to him or are you gonna fight for what's right? Let me know in the comments.
Stability of her relationship, and you better believe that will come into play later on. She invites Rose in and asks if she should be concerned about the recent slate of missing and murdered children. Unfortunately for Derry and the indigenous people, missing and murdered people isn't anything.
Did y'all see all those missing kid signs? And just nobody knows nothing? Police trash around there.
Out of the ordinary. Charlotte would be best to keep the people she loves close. When Rose hears that Leroy is working on some sort of confidential project, that sure doesn't sound like a pipeline General Shaw mentioned. I'm sure these two will continue to work together as the military continues to overstep its bounds.
Right.
Last episode, after Dick Halloran's first mission with Leroy, General Shaw asked if there were any special privileges he would like to be afforded. Well, it looks like Dick's got his way with his very own secluded requisition shed, which he intends to convert into a hangout spot where he and other African-American servicemen can put up their feet. This place will become known as the Black Spot.
All right. So the Black Spot. In the It timeline, the Black Spot was set on fire and a bunch of brothers didn't make it out and they all burned to death in there. You know, it has something to do with that. Just like it has something to do with basically everything wrong around the town of Derry.
Become known as the Black Spot. It'll eventually be burned down by a racist group known as the Legion of White Decency. We actually saw a sign from this group on the Welcome to Derry sign. Both Will
hold up. Their names are the Legion of White Decency. Nah. If that ain't triple K activity, I don't know what is.
This attack with Will passing on this story to his son Mike. Pennywise is mentioned as being here. In It Chapter 1, Mike will see a vision of burning hands clambering out a padlocked door, a recreation of this event. While cleaning up the shed, Halloran experiences a series of visions. For the most part, these are unintelligible blurs of light, which become clearer, forming these three balls. You might recall these from the movies and will later see them in the Galul flashback. These are what's known as the Deadlights,
yes,
or its true extra-dimensional form. We also have Lily's drain pipe, which Maddie's fingers came out of in episode 1. This is followed by a quick shot.
Manny's fingers coming out that fucking drain pipe was a whole jump scare. I'm not gonna lie to you. Fingers came out on some, come here, bitch. I was like, oh shit.
This is followed by a quick shot of a bathroom, but oddly enough, this isn't Lily's. The layout and shower curtains are different. We'll see someone break into a room where a robed lady sits. Last episode, when Dick was transported to Pennywise's lair, he saw a vision of this same woman, who I believe to be his grandmother. In The
That's definitely his grandma.
Shining, Dick talks about how he was close with his grandmother and how the two of them would have entire conversations with each other in their heads. Another shot of wartime trenches. When Dick encountered the entity, we saw similar flashes of him during the war, which are
Yo, it is a whole son of a bitch, bro. Why would you make somebody relive all that? He made my man relive the war, seeing his battle buddies die to the left and the right of him, and he can't save them. That's fucked up, man. I can't wait till he dead.
followed by that same robed woman in the distance. She warns Dick to watch himself and to, quote, keep that lid tight. I like to think she's referring to her lockbox trick we learn about in King's Doctor Sleep. She taught Dick this trick and how it could be used to contain everything from entities, horrible memories, and images by containing it in sealed mental boxes. These flashes we saw in episodes 3 and 4 are likely his contained traumatic memories that risk leaking out. Hence why she reminds him, keep that lid on tight. When Leroy
Because it will use that as his fear and it will get him too. Now, of course, we know it doesn't get him because he goes on to work at the hotel in the movie The Shining, and he's an older man at that time. So obviously, it doesn't get him, but that doesn't mean that everybody else here doesn't get got.
asks him what exactly is going on in Derry, he isn't sure himself. All he knows is that it's not good and Leroy should stay out of it. At school, I love the little detail of a clown poster in the background.
I didn't even see it. Let me see. Yeah, the clown's right here, and it looks slick like Pennywise too from a distance.
In the background, we'll see a projector playing a film about a nuclear blast, just like the intro credits. We'll even see Bert the Turtle. Turtles have kind of been this hidden Easter egg sprinkled throughout the season. They represent Maturin, a
If it is complete evil and total darkness, Maturin is complete good. The giver of life, the maker of worlds and universes. Pennywise, it is the eater of worlds. Where there's light, there's always dark.
cosmic godlike entity that is its counter. And bonus points if you caught the other hidden turtle in this episode, which I'll reveal a little bit later. Marge's relationship with Lily deteriorated over the course of the first 4 episodes, due in large.
That's because this frog eye motherfucker right here with her frog fucking eyes, she want to go be with the popular girls. You diss and play your friend in front of these girls that ain't gonna never leave that fucking town for the rest of their life and stun on your real friend. But my thing is we don't see none of these characters later down the line in the original It movie. Early prediction is she gonna get got.
Large part to her desperately wanting to be part of the popular clique, the Patty Cakes. And this sad attempt at acceptance comes at the cost of throwing her friend under the bus. She goes along with a plan to have school heartthrob Tim Flanagan embarrass her in front of the school. However, good old Marge has a change of heart. That is before she experiences her first encounter with the entity. Earlier in the day, Marge watched a video on a parasite known as Leocochloridum paradoxum, also known as the zombie snail parasite. This parasite latches onto a snail and grows long, swollen brood sacs which crawl into the snail's eyes, making it look like a delicious grub for predators to chow down. This is how the entity manifests.
Yo, she was in the bathroom talking to Lily because they setting up that whole plan to embarrass Lily by telling her the dude that like her actually like her when he really don't. She know what's going on, and she with the play, she with the setup. This little frog eye fucking bitch here looks in the goddamn in the mirror, and her eyes start bugging out the same way that Bug did when they was watching it in class. It looks so nasty. Shout out to Andy Muschietti for all the CG in this motherfucker because it's fire. This was scary and nasty looking, and I fucked with it. It made me jump back. I was like, oh, put your glasses back on.
For Marge, turning her eyes into these grotesque elongated stalks. The parasite itself is also the perfect metaphor for the entity.
And it didn't end there. Nah, hold up.
Swollen brood sacs, which is also the perfect.
Hold up. This shit was hurting her, so she's trying she took a knife. She took like a knife that she found in the wood class, and she stabs herself in the eye to get one of the eyes off. Then she goes under the wood chipper, bro. She goes under the little wood cutter joint. Hold up. And she slices off her eye. Now, obviously, all of this is illusions that it is showing her. It's her fear. She thought that bug was nasty, and she thinking, I got these glasses. That's probably what my eyes look like. And she goes under here and cuts her eyes off. But of course, it's an illusion. So she's doing what? She's really cutting into her real eye. Nasty.
Is also the perfect metaphor for the entity, something that feeds off the town members by taking over their mind and body. And if things couldn't get any worse for Lily, she tries to save her friend, only for the entire school to catch her on top of her with a tool used to scrape out her eye.
Yeah, hold on. What's crazy is everybody rushes in the room while Lily's trying to help this girl not cut her damn eyes out. She's trying to take the knife out of her hand right here. But because she's Loony Lily, when everybody walks in the room, she got the knife up looking like OJ. You caught me. But it wasn't me. It was the one man. And it just make her look crazy all the way around.
And if things couldn't get any worse for Lily, she tries to save her friend, only for the entire school to catch her on top of her with a tool used to scrape out her eye. Will Lily be sent back to Juniper Hill?
Hell yes, she will.
Trailer sleuthing section, I think we have an answer. That no good Charlotte's been snooping.
Oh, hold on. And then right after we see that girl cutting her eye out, we cut to this. We cut to Charlotte Hanlon cutting tomatoes up, and that shit looks so nasty right after we seen that girl cut her eye out. Just all up close. It was clever.
Sleuthing section, I think we have an answer. That no good Charlotte's been snooping in her son's drawers, and instead of finding Playboys, finds something much worse: amateur photography. Will opens up to his mother about what's going on, but it's interesting he never mentions anything supernatural. He simply states that it feels like someone is coming after him.
Y'all tell me in the comments, man, if your child really came to you and told you we were in the graveyard and something was coming after us, and they said ghosts came after us, like your child is sitting up there bawling because it's like this thing was after us trying to kill us, and this killer clown. And would you believe your child, or would you like go do what most parents gonna do and run and go put them on some medicine?
This prompts Charlotte to arrange a fishing date with Leroy. Leroy and Will are somewhat opposites. Leroy is more of a man's man who you'd find tossing a football with his boy, while Will is a man of science. He'd rather watch the stars than go fishing. But
you got to meet your kids in the middle, man. You got to meet your kids in the middle. Yeah, you could be on some, I like to go, you know what I'm saying, ride four-wheelers, throw the football around, or go fishing. But if your son not into that, gotta meet them in the middle, man. That's what they're gonna remember. I wasn't into that, but my dad came and hung out with me, and we would wait late at night and go look in the telescope together to look at the stars. They're gonna remember that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Versus you trying to throw a football into their chest and force them to be somebody that they're not. I know somebody right now got their son in football, and their son say all the goddamn time. You ask him, you like football? He say, no, I hate it. My dad's making me play. It's a little boy. You making him play football. He don't want to do it. He likes Sonic. He don't want to play football.
A football with his boy, while Will is a man of science. He'd rather watch the stars than go fishing. But it's nice to have some quality time with dad and muse about a girl he may or may not be into. The show is definitely setting up a potential romance between him and Ronnie. Now, it wouldn't be a horror show if we didn't have dad leaving Will all alone. And
that was crazy foreboding. I'm not gonna lie to you. As soon as he was walking away, I said, so I thought to myself, I said, it ain't like a entity that attacks at a certain time. He can get you at any moment, daytime, nighttime, early morning, late at night. It don't matter. It will get to you if he wants to. So he's not playing with these kids as much as he was playing with the Losers Club. He intends on getting all of them because they're getting too close.
Alone. And can we take a moment to realize just how gorgeous Derry is? I can't believe they shot this an hour from where I live. I should probably take my car out there and do a video on the real life locations they shot this in. Will is grabbed by the entity.
I'm not fucking with it. Stephen King should always give me a realistic, like supernatural feel. I'm not fucking with it. Like you about to go to the Shining Hotel. Nah, I'm cool.
entity who has taken the form of his greatest fear, his burned father.
Okay. My man Will was standing out in the water. His dad said, "Yo, I left some shit in the truck. I'll be right back." You already knew him being out there in the middle of the water, fly fishing and all that. You just knew something was finna happen. Lo and behold, we get a whole jump scare. I ain't gonna lie. The little boy was looking in the water and the whole arm came out and grabbed him and pulled him under. That shit jump scared the fuck out of me right quick. I said, "Oh shit. That's what you get for looking in the fucking water." I done went back to the truck with my daddy. Hold on, let's go back to the truck together. You never know what could happen. You know what I'm saying? Might want to shave somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So his biggest fear was when his dad came back from the war and he told him about how he got burnt up. You can even see the scar on his father's face that's kind of left there as, you know what I'm saying, a reminder. So he just always has been scared of seeing his father burned up. So when it grabbed him and pulled him underwater and this is what he sees, as a kid, that would have scared the shit out of me too.
He'll later tell the gang that he'd often have nightmares of his dad's burned body emerging from his.
Now, if I'm the father here and he's telling me, "I saw you, it was you when you were burnt up and all," I'm listening to my child, bruh. Something in this town ain't right.
Down plane during the war. This likely explains Leroy's burn marks on his arms and how he lost function of his small amygdala, which essentially shuts off his ability to experience fear. With
The small amygdala. Nah, I'm not even gonna do that. I'm gonna let him say that word over again.
fear, his burned father. He'll later tell the gang that he'd often have nightmares of his dad's burned body emerging from his downed plane during the war. This likely explains Leroy's burn marks on his arms and how he lost function of his small amygdala, which is
Small amygdala. You know, I'm cooked right now. So even saying that was crazy. Small amygdala. He lost function of that in the war. He can't experience fear. Could you live your life like that? Like your whole function of being scared of situations. There's situations you should be scared of, but your brain can't even function you to be scared. You're too busy analyzing. Could you live your life like that? I think it's unhuman not to experience some sort of fear.
essentially shuts off his ability to experience fear. What's really strange is that Will is physically injured by this attack with blood on his hands. This combined with him and Leroy seeing that creepy red balloon
You seeing what I'm seeing? I'm looking at what you're looking at, and we looking at it together. Fucking creepy red balloon. Hold up.
really strange is that Will is physically injured by this attack with blood on his hands. This combined with him and Leroy.
You already know who that is. Balloon, red balloon just going by. I think, yo, tell me right now, are clowns really that creepy? They kind of are, aren't they? I never really thought about it. Like I was never afraid of clowns when I was coming up as a kid. I was never afraid of them, but to see a weirdo clown at the circus and all, yeah, that is kind of scary.
Leroy seeing that creepy red balloon proves to Leroy that something is really going on here. When he investigates the intruder Will sees outside their home, he'll see another red balloon, prompting him to go to General Shaw and ask what the hell is going on.
Facts. See, he's starting to ask the right questions.
General Shaw is running out of time with Project Precept. He and Colonel Fuller know a lot more about this entity than they've let on. For example, they know about this cycle, referring to how the entity comes back every.
Y'all notice what the general said there? The cycle will be over soon and the weapon gone to ground. See, these fools is trying to trap it and turn them into a weapon against other foreign countries that may want to do the United States some harm. Why is motherfuckers always trying to take some supernatural shit and like trap it? Who are these people that hold these whole weirdo situations like that one show I was watching, The Sandman on Netflix? They trying to summon a demon to give them the power of eternal life or some stupid shit like that. Why are y'all summoning people like that? Y'all don't know. Stop playing with these entities that y'all know nothing about.
About this cycle, referring to how the entity comes back every 27 years. And the latest cycle will soon be
1908, Kitchener Ironworks fire. 1935, Bradley Gang massacre. That was that car that they lifted out of the ground that had all that money in there and all them skull and bones. 1988, the Losers Club Part 1, 2016, the Losers Club Part 2. Now, mind you, it has been buried within Derry for millions of years prior to this timeline.
Over, at which time the weapon will be gone to ground. So he takes drastic measures and sets up a trap for the local indigenous boys so they can capture one to be interrogated by Dick Halloran to give Leroy a better idea of what.
Okay, so if the military knowing exactly his cycle of when he feeds and all of that, they're trying to catch him. I just don't see this going right. Somebody's gonna get got. Like at the end, y'all remember at the end of the original the Losers Club Part 1. At the end of that, he had got old stuttering boy, Billy. He had got him, and he told him, he was like, I'll take you, I'll take all of you. And he's like, or this is what it is telling them, or you can give him to me, and then y'all can go on and live your lives. I'll let y'all go, but he comes with me. He could be on some. He gonna take somebody major out here, man. I got a theory. He gonna take somebody major in the lineage, and we're never gonna see him again. It's gonna be like, damn, he got away. We damn near beat him, but he got away. I think that's what it's gonna be like.
They're up against. Shaw allows him to take part in Dick's interrogation. Here we have Rose's nephew, Taniel, who is caught scoping the base. He's not willing to give up what he knows, but Halloran has other methods of extracting this information. He can go into his mind. This is the first time we've seen Dick's powers manifested this way through a.
Now, I'm also wondering, because Welcome to Derry has already been approved to go to season 2 and season 3, just off of the first 2 or 3 episodes alone. This is the newest episode. So they're going to go back 27 years each season, going back to all these different times that happened earlier in the timeline. I'm wondering if everybody that's in this town right now, is it seriously you know what it would have to be, as far as connecting timelines. He just said, Dick Halloran just said him and his grandma used to talk to each other in their minds without even having to have a conversation, without even having to use their mouths. So his grandma had to shine it too. Who's to say she didn't run into it and got? It's one of those type situations. I think this is all to do with lineage. Every character that we see in this season is related to somebody all the way from the original timeline. Derry has been dealing with it from the very beginning.
Selection of doors. Behind them is Taniel as a child, and Dick manipulates him by posing as his aunt and asking him to recite the story of the entity's origin, an entity known as Galoo. When I started It Welcome to Derry, I was expecting a Pennywise origin story, which I think we're still going to get, but never a full 10-minute origin on the entity itself. This is a story millions of the years in making, before humans even set foot in the Americas.
Right.
An object described as a falling star crash lands into a hole in what will become the western woods of Derry. The impact set free the entity known as Galoo, who for millennia stalked and preyed among the creatures of the forest. But all that changed with the arrival of the Native Americans.
So the Native Americans was the first people on that land in Derry, and they knew that the monster was in the woods. So they found his lair, and the shit that it's covered in, the meteorite covering that brought it to Earth. They knocked some of that shit off and started using it as weaponry, as like a fence to keep it at bay.
This could be anywhere from 13,000 years ago when the first humans arrived in Maine. They discovered that the stone which brought Galoo here was actually its cage. It keeps the entity at bay. So it's entirely possible Galoo was trapped in this material by some other alien race and shipped off into space. A dagger created from this material was used to keep the nearby village safe, and an uneasy truce was created between them and the.
Look at the little Indian baby. Excuse me, Native American baby. Oh, just cute, man.
Entity. They reached a balance with the monster. It would never harm them if they stayed out of its territory. That all changed with the arrival of the settlers. The indigenous tried.
Of course, the colonizers brought their ass there, fucked up everything, bringing your disease and uncleanliness.
of the settlers. The indigenous tried to warn them, but the settlers hunted the woods until they became the hunted.
Why is that always the thing? That's all. Like, you even seen that in the movie Sinners. The Native Americans was trying to tell them two white folks that was in that little shack, yo, the man you possibly let in your house is not what he seems. You need to come on out, because he ain't what it. They were hunting the monster. They always know some shit. The Native Americans always know some shit. Try to tell white folks, they don't listen, and they get ate. It always happens.
Lou fed off their fear and grew stronger, so strong that it could expand beyond its borders. If left unchecked, it's very possible that Galu's power could expand further and further until no one was safe from its grasp. The ancient dagger was no longer strong enough to keep the monster at bay. Thus, the villagers decide to leave. But the daughter of the village's great war chief thought there was another way. She took the dagger into the woods with two of her friends. I love how, even hundreds of years ago, there's this theme of teens going on their own to stop it.
And I hate it. And mainly because I know they're going off by themselves, but yeah, nah, the war chief, their parents would have never let them go do this by themselves, to go confront the Galu, aka it.
Of course, Sesqui and her warriors, upon realizing the kids have gone, head into the forest where they're picked off one by one.
Yeah, okay, so hold on. This is what the Native Americans, one of their forms of fear. Hold on, I'm trying to get it here. Here we go. Hold on.
The forest where they're picked off one by one.
Yo, you see this shit, man? That shit kind of scary, ain't it? So he really does turn into your worst fears.
I was totally shocked.
And then he turned into an American settling priest bringing in Christianity. That is scary.
This manifestation of a Christian priest whose chest opens up to reveal a demon baby Jesus.
Oh, that shit was crazy, man. So they got the war chief's daughter, her mom got by it. And then this fucking demon Chucky baby comes out of his chest. Man, that shit was crazy, bro. You see the thorns around his head? That's wildly disrespectful.
With a crown of thorns. It stabbed Sesqui with a spear just like Christ was stabbed with one by a Roman soldier on the cross. Sesqui succumbs to her wounds and her daughter ventures back to Galu's cave, the same ones we saw the losers in It Chapter 2. She'll break off shards from the entity's ancient star. These shards would then be covered in turtle shells, another reference to Matron.
That's another way for protection.
Where they would be buried at 13 markers around the forest. These shards are most likely what General Shaw referred to as beacons in episode 2. They point to what the military is really after, Galu himself. That's why Shaw said last episode what they're searching for was buried 300 years before the invention of the automobile. Imagine you were the US military and had control of these shards. You could let Galu loose on Russia without fear it would harm your men. So,
nah. You see how fucked up that is? Instead of killing this child-eating entity, they want to weaponize it.
The plan seems to be to use Dick Halloran not only to find Galu, but to trap it and weaponize it against the Russians. Halloran asks Taniel where the pillar/beacon locations are which contain these shards. Suddenly, a door opens showing the Neibolt house where Taniel says,
Follow the tunnels under the old well and you'll find the pillars.
All the tunnels under the old well, there he will find the pillars. It's fun to see the Neibolt house looks just as shitty as it did in the 80s. Director Andy Muschietti has stated that the show will delve deeper into the history of this house, so maybe we'll even get more flashbacks. The Neibolt location is often cited as Derry's first known feeding event, as the land was previously the site of a beaver trapping camp where 91 settlers mysteriously vanished in the
Whoa. I mean, I knew that house was fucked up from the original It, but I didn't know it was that fucked up.
winter of 1791. Back in town, Charlotte continues her investigation into Hank Rogan and asks Police Chief Bowers if it's possible they have the wrong guy. Not a surprise that he's steadfast in his decision, but when Charlotte asks if she can talk to him, she's promptly denied. Only family and legal counsel can do that. I did a little research and found that's not entirely the case, and at the time it was most likely at the discretion of the sheriff. But we
Mm.
already know Bowers doesn't want anyone snooping into the Grogan case, as he was pressured to bring him in anyway. You better believe he's going to have his eyes on Charlotte going forward. So Charlotte
You better leave that racist ass cop alone, man. Look at him. Look at him. Look at that haircut. That's that you going to jail, buddy. Yeah, you going to fucking jail, buddy.
Charlotte going forward. So Charlotte ends up looking up Hank's address in the phone book, and I love how you can still see the closed theater in the background. She'll end up meeting Hank's mother, Luella Grogan, who confirms that Hank was indeed out of the house during the time of the murders.
Damn.
Why is it that Hank won't
Damn.
tell anyone what he was really doing that night? Charlotte comes back armed with a written letter of permission from the family and threatens to have the news media and freedom fighters on their doorstep if the police don't let her see Hank.
Now she gonna have "We Shall Overcome" pull up on you. You don't want that.
Charlotte's plan is to file papers showing prejudicial treatment and discrimination, which would allow Hank to go on house arrest until his trial. This, however, will take some time, and he'll likely be sent to Shawshank for a few days before it's all worked out. But again, this all goes back to what was he actually doing the night of the murders? What could be so secret that you're willing to spend the rest of your life in jail?
Good question. Pete Game, no.
According to Hank, he was having relations with a married white woman.
Oh, and there lies one of the biggest questions of this episode. He didn't want to tell nobody that he was out with a white woman because he was afraid motherfuckers was going to hang him. Not only that, but now you have to ask the question, whose wife was he with? I feel like he's with the chief of police. I think he was knocking out the chief of police wife. Early prediction.
Scandal, if found out, could have him lynched. But who could this married white woman be?
Uh-huh.
The show hasn't introduced us to any such woman. Lily's friend doesn't wear a wedding ring, and her mom's a widow. Is it no one of consequence, or could it be the wife of one of our characters, the sheriff, for example? It tells us that it just kind of happened, which might imply the entity had some hand in it. Now we head on over to our trailer sleuthing section, where we take a look at footage we haven't yet seen to see where the story might take us. Here we have a bunch of students clamoring for the door. I think this is some sort of school dance. We'll see Patty and the others come under the spell of Galoo, who, at this point, has likely taken on the form of Pennywise. We'll see Pennywise set against this flaming background with...
That is a crazy shot. That shit fire.
Zombie-like figures behind him. Those are likely children, and this might be what leads to the town putting up all these missing children's posters, one of whom is Patty. Hank being sent to Shawshank. We already know from Charlotte he's likely to spend a few days there before the proper paperwork can be filled in.
Shawshank is a shithole, bro. Have y'all seen the movie The Shawshank Redemption? How my man even had to get out of there? I think he had to crawl through 6 football fields of shit
Out arranging his release. Lily here looking at albums showing Bob Gray, the man who will become Pennywise. I highly recommend you check out my Pennywise daughter theory video as I go into this way more in depth. We do see in the visit to set video that there will be flashbacks to that carnival that feature Pennywise the Clown. The gang on their way into the sewers with a new addition, Marge. We'll see her in the hospital, perhaps Juniper Hill if they think she's crazy, and later with an eye patch.
They got this girl over here looking like Deathstroke. Yeah, get her out of here. She gone. She gone. That's one of my deaths right there. She gone.
She's lost that eye for good. One of the members of the indigenous group claims they have 25 disappearances and 7 deaths. Is he referring to members of his tribe or this event that happens with the kids? Pennywise in the basement of some sort of old building in black and white. We'll see a nurse here making me think we could be underneath Juniper Hill. The Mist is another big event that takes over Derry. I've mentioned how this might be tied to the Mist and Project Arrowhead.
Bro, if that's the same Mist from the movie The Mist, Derry's just a fucked up place all the way around.
Roy will team up with Taniel, so I'm expecting Leroy to drift further and further away from his military superiors. Here's Taniel again entering the Niebolt house. Perhaps he's showing them where the pillars are. Marge holding onto Sesqui's dagger. I wonder where they found it.
Right.
In this shot, we'll see Ronnie holding onto that same dagger as they pass floating school children. At a dig site, one of the turtle shells is dug up, indicating they found one of the 13 beacons. It looks as though Hank makes it out of Shawshank, as we'll see him here on the set at the Black Spot.
Nice.
And that about does it for this week's video. Now I want to hear from you.
All right. And again, y'all, that was Thank's story. We thank them for the content. Love the way you break that down, brother. Welcome to Derry, episode 5. Comes out next Sunday, meaning I'll be talking about it next Monday. We still got Power, Book 4 Force. I'm going to talk about the newest episode at the end of the week. Thinking about throwing y'all a couple of reaction videos, getting back to some of those IG, TikTok reaction type videos. And yeah, that's it, man. This has been another great session. I am fried, bitch. I'm up out here, man. It's your boy Slave DBIC. This is the Offenders Initiative podcast. We out.